trigger stacking. This is a term that you need to know. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what that means, how you can use it and understand it to change your life, and 3 ways that you can start to do that today. And it's funny because I heard this term like right after I experienced it in real life in my own personal situation. And I even did a video kind of touching on what I was going through before I heard this term. And so I'm kind of diving back into that. To understand the concept of trigger stacking, you can start to recognize it in your own life and when it's happening in your own life, and you can start to cultivate awareness around your internal and external triggers, which make a huge difference to living your life with more ease. What are the things throughout your day that can create stress, that can create anxiety, frustration, overwhelm, all these emotions that we feel that get triggered with certain events, right? So let me know down in the comments, what are some events in your life that are just daily that happen that you can think off the top of your head that cause stress? And I want you to even go on like the smallest level. So it could be traffic, it could be dealing with someone cutting you off, it could be your work to-dos piling up, or just like your household to-dos, your life to-dos piling up each day, right? Not taking action to get to those, but like just kind of allowing them to pile up. It could be the meetings that you're having to attend, the projects that you need to get done, sometimes just being in public places, not getting enough sleep, like all of these little things that maybe you don't realize are stressors in your day and might be like triggering some sort of emotion within the body. What are some of those? Identify them right now. Like, let me know, because this is really important, identifying those, to understand and really kind of utilize this term trigger stacking in the right way. Because for me, most recently, I've been dealing with not only like the little daily things of like just my to-do list that you just kind of have when you wake up each day. I don't know if you have one, but like I have a to-do list each day. And if I don't get to those things, then it's just there tomorrow. And like that is, as soon as I wake up, that is a stressor, right? For me, it's spreading myself thin. I tend to take on a lot of things. And at this point in my life, it's all these things that I really love doing. But I'm realizing that I'm falling into kind of a people-pleasing tendency where I'm saying yes because, I'm being told, oh, you'd be so great at this, or, oh, you're so talented in this. Like they acknowledge and see that like, yeah, I might be good at doing something. And then they offer me like, hey, why don't you teach this? Like teach an art class because you're good at teaching yoga. Teach kids swim lessons because you're good at teaching yoga, or teach art classes because you do a lot of art. And there's all these things that like are why people are kind of turning me on to these opportunities. And it's great because like the universe is offering me opportunities to spend my time and energy and giving value in ways that like I'm really passionate about. But I'm realizing that if I'm not prioritizing ways to balance out all of these things that are pulling me in different directions, then I'm going to burn out, even if it's doing something I love. And so that's the idea that I'm getting down to. Trigger stacking refers to, really, when I looked it up, it refers to a phenomenon in which a dog experiences multiple stressful or scary situations within a short time span. And so I thought that was funny when I first looked it up, because when I originally heard it, it wasn't talking and referring to dogs, it was talking and referring to us, humans. And so when I went a little deeper, it's this idea when you look at it within humans. We usually call this experience displaced aggression. It's a result of our ego depletion, only having so much energy to disperse throughout your day, mental or physical. We have so much going on in terms of what we are being demanded of each day. And so it makes sense that like we can handle a lot more, right, in a time span than maybe a dog. But like the idea of this trigger stacking is still the same thing. I first heard it from Allison Stoner, who is a like Disney. She was a Disney star back in the day, and she did like backup dance for Missy Elliott on like some of her music videos and stuff. But I have watched her and her journey, and just kind of coming into her own healing journey. And just being a huge advocate for mental health and all the things that it's done for her. And this was a term that she spoke of when I came across her on one of her posts. And it was the first time I had heard it. And so then when I went and looked it up, it's really describing the diminished capacity to regulate thoughts, feelings, and actions after we've used up our available energy while exerting willpower throughout the day. And that's based off of a willpower researcher, Roy Baumeister. Can't say his last name, right? And so if you think of that, that makes sense, right? As humans, we only have so much that we can disperse with our energy. And a lot of times stressors can take away from that, can drain that energy, right? And so there's really no way that you can avoid what is unknown, like most of life's stressors are. Like you don't necessarily if you go about anticipating all the stressors, then you're gonna be stressed out all the time. And so there's not really a way to avoid the stressors, but you can cultivate awareness around what causes you stress, right? In order to create a practice, a routine, rituals that will then serve as an antidote for dealing with them and dealing with your daily stressors so that it does not compile and that you are able to live life with more ease. 1. 2, you're able to feel more grounded in the present moment and within yourself. And 3, you're able to, again, avoid the feelings of burnout or just plain being exhausted on life. Because when we feel triggered, it's important to express the emotion that we feel when we're triggered, right? It's important to express and let that emotion be expressed. If we hold it in, then it's just going to get buried down. It's just going to get compartmentalized. And expression allows us to move through it and therefore transmute it, right? We're able to kind of lift that off of us and understand it maybe a little better, understand why I was there, but we're able to move past it. And it's really more than just observing and being aware or just noting that you have the emotion, like just, okay, I'm sad, check. Like it's deeper awareness than that. It's an act of mindful embodiment, connecting the action of identifying what is in the mind with the physical ability to viscerally feel it within the body. So recognize where your chest is tight, recognize where you may feel antsy or holding tension within the body. And then there's the question of, okay, how do we feel our feelings? If we start to cultivate this awareness of what our stressors are and what these feelings are that are coming up, how do we even allow those to move through you if you weren't taught that or if you haven't experienced it before, right? If your body doesn't know how to do that, then you can't just flip a switch and do it. And so some things that have helped me in my life are somatic shaking. That is something that you can do to just release static energy. I shared a reel on my Instagram recently, just kind of asking you to shake with me. And so that's a good try if you want to go try and experience that. I'll put the link down in the bio little description here. Another example of how you can feel your feelings is to leaning into the support of your community or leaning into someone that's there that is able to help you with feeling and moving through that feeling. For me, most recently, that was leaning into my yoga community and being okay with like letting the tears out and having them hold space for me instead of me always holding space, right? And so sometimes when you don't feel that you can hold the space for yourself, that's when you can reach out and lean into that support of loved ones who are there to hold that support for you. And so if you want to hear more about that specific experience, I shared it in a recent video where I talk about that it's okay to feel your feelings. And that was a video that I shared right before I heard about this term trigger stacking. So this is very like in line, and I was like, I got to talk on this. So the third thing that I want to share in terms of how you can feel your feelings is allowing yourself space to sit in that discomfort of the feeling, right? And so that kind of is like the hardest part to begin with, is if you feel anger, sometimes you just want to run away from it. If you feel sadness, you just kind of want to like avoid it, right? You just switch to like thinking positive thoughts. But sometimes it's good to sit in that sense of whatever that is. For me, I know that I sometimes have to sit in the like feeling of failure. Like an example of allowing myself space for this discomfort, like a year ago, I tried to do kind of my, I don't know, first like online launch. And I just was not prepared. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was trying to do it out of like what I, was passionate about, but I didn't really know the right steps. And I just kind of was trying to put something out there. I think just trying to put something out there. And there was a lot of perfectionists that was going into it and all this stuff. So I found myself kind of failing miserably after I tried like a live Q&A, and I didn't think it went well at all. And realistically, like, it was a failure. And that night I allowed myself to just kind of like cry and breathe and tune into my breathing and tap into that tension I was feeling around just like not doing my best. And it was such a healing experience, like just to allow myself to feel that. Then I could go into the next day being like, all right, I felt that, but I know it's not true. Like, I know that that was in the moment. It was very real, but that does not mean that I'm quitting, right? And I just kind of knew that it was a sign for me to go deeper into my own internal work around like, why did I feel like such a failure? Why was I so attached to that outcome? And it was really an attachment to an outcome. So those are kind of 3 different ways that I know personally that I have felt into my feelings: is shaking, moving your body. Yoga is another movement form that like really helps me feel into my feelings. Leaning into the support of my community or loved ones, and allowing myself space to actually sit with that discomfort and feel that discomfort, right? Because if we don't know how to tap into a safe space for expressing and experiencing the triggers we feel, the feelings, the emotions, they will get compartmentalized. They will get shoved down or stacked up, like, think of it as a Jenga tower, until one day it gets too much and it's going to come crashing down. You're going to hit that breaking point. You're going to have a nervous breakdown. You're going to burst out into tears. You're going to have an angry lash out or some kind of lash out, maybe onto someone else around you. And that's what trigger stacking is. It's this idea that you're not being aware that all these triggers are getting stacked up, and you're not giving yourself the proper time, space to detox that and allow that to kind of reset, so that you have the space, you have the energy to take in more. Because we are humans living in this really complex matrix that demands so much of our attention elsewhere, away from what is happening on the inside, away from what is grounding us in the present moment. So to be able to have this awareness, and that's essentially what it is, it's self-awareness, that you're learning to cultivate a relationship with yourself through exploration, through trying out different antidotes, whether it's meditation, whether it's breathing, whether it's shaking, whether it's movement, journaling. There are so many out there. And so it's your job to explore these so that you can feel confidently equipped with the tools to help you navigate the multiple distractions and stressors and negativity that life throws your way, in order to eliminate the chances of you hitting that breaking point, of you trigger stacking, right? Because unless you're doing that work of inner awareness and noticing and observing what these triggers are, man, I have gone a long time and I haven't been prioritizing myself and holding space for myself. So like, that's why I broke down in tears for me recently in my It's Okay to Feeling Feelings video. That's what I talked about. I had an outburst of just kind of emotion. And I realized it's because I had gone this period of trigger stacking all of it up, and then it broke. So yeah, I just want to know now, after explaining what trigger stacking looks like, who can say firsthand that you've experienced that? Like, let me know in the comments, because more likely than not, you have. A lot of us have. As humans, we have this tendency to compartmentalize and just kind of like shove it down, because that's what we've been like programmed to do. So just know that you have a choice. You have the option, the choice to change that right now, to shift that. And that's what I hopefully can help with what I'm sharing here, is making that little shift, whether it's something I said or whether it is, something I say down the line or something I've said before, or just turning you on to someone who might be saying the right thing for you to land and resonate right. Then I'm happy. That's what I'm here to do. So if something in this video stuck out to you, let me know. I'd love to hear. And go check out that feelings video. It's okay to feel your feelings. It's one of my past, I think most recent YouTube videos. And then on Instagram, I have my shaking reel. You can go check that out. And also, I'm going to put in a link in the description if you want to try out a breathing exercise, kind of a breathing into tension meditation, if you will. It's a little maybe 10-minute audio that I will send you for you to explore and tap into that and just see if that works for you. And then you'll have that to use when you want to use it. And that's going to be free on me. So I want to share that with you. If that's of interest, you want to try breathing into tension and see what that feels like for your own body, or just to add that to your toolkit, click the link below and I'll get that sent over to you. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube here and we can continue this conversation, or follow me over on Instagram. Mindful Meg Tai is what I'm going under for now. And yeah, I just so look forward to our next conversation here. And until then, I will see you later.